What's up, model makers? Have you ever been in one of those conversations with your buddies where you, as a result of said conversation, find yourself doing something that on later reflection probably seems a little crazy, and you're not quite sure how you got there? Usually those conversations involve things like dares and I bet you and stuff like that, but sometimes it's just sort of spontaneous. And this is a story about one of those conversations. So the other day, I was chatting online with my two buddies, Jimmy D and Matt McDougall, about what model we were going to choose for our upcoming 3 Judges buddy build that we're doing in conjunction with the Scale Modelers Critique Group 2016 Build Challenge. And we were going back and forth about what we would all like to build. And Jimmy D allowed us how he would really like it if he could find a super cool model car that had total detail, everything, soup to nuts, included in the kit. And I innocently said, well, you could always go over to Model Factory Hero. And he said, Model Factory Huo? I said, oh yeah, you got to check these guys out. Model Factory Hero is the gold standard for car modelers. They've got exactly what you're talking about. And I very quickly hopped over to MFH, to their website, and grabbed the link, to do the little copy pasta and hand it off to my buddy, because that's just the kind of guy I am. Then, a little later, I went back over to modelfactoryhero.com and just had to surf around because I hadn't been there in over a year and hadn't checked out any of their updates and just was always curious because, it's sort of like wandering through the Ferrari dealership. You're not really going to buy one, but it's still, cool to just see what's there, right? And that's when it happened. There was one of those moments where, the choirs of angels sing and the heavenly light comes blazing down and you're just transfixed. Yeah. And that leads to the next part of my story, which is the arrival of a very cool box from Japan that says Model Factory Hero on it. I mean, look, is there anything more fun in model making than getting a box from Japan that's got all of this, Japanese writing on it and the stamp from Japan Post and, it says that it came from 2-3-8 Higashi Hokima Adachi-ku, Tokyo. That's just fun and cool. Now, you may have noticed on this label, I might have shown it to you too quick, but right there under my finger it says Brough Superior. Now, if you're a motorcyclist, you immediately understand what this is all about. If you're not, let me explain. So, the classic bike genre gets totally ignored by the model kit manufacturers. Sure, Tamiya makes these amazing MotoGP bikes in 1/12 scale, and they've had a few other bikes in their lineup. I think you can get a 1/6 scale Harley. I've built their 1/6 scale Honda Monkey, and it's an amazing kit. 200 pieces of brilliant engineering. But if you're a motorcycle guy, you yearn for things like a 1940s era Harley shovelhead or a Norton Commando or an old Triumph from the 60s or a BSA Gold Star or a Vincent Black Shadow. Revell actually makes a Vincent Black Shadow in 1/12, and I'm looking at one sitting right there on the back corner of my bench, but I already know it's not going to be anything like a Tamiya kit. But beyond all of those, for all true motorcycle guys, there's one motorcycle that truly is the holy grail of motorcycles. And it's the holy grail in real full-size motorcycles circles as well. And that is the Brough Superior ss100. It is sex on two wheels. Brough started building these motorcycles in the late 20s. And they, in their own advertising, called them the Rolls-Royce of motorcycles. They even invited the Rolls-Royce guys over to their factory to check them out because they were using the slogan, and Rolls-Royce had caught wind of it. And the guys at Rolls were so impressed that they said, you know what? We officially give you approval to use that slogan in your advertising. And in fact, the Brough Superior became, within a few years, literally the fastest thing on the planet. Riders on Brough Superiors set a number of world speed records at the time. I mean, this was at its peak, this was a 75 horsepower motorcycle that could easily top out over 100 miles an hour. And one of the most famous guys to do that was Lawrence of Arabia, T.E. Lawrence. Now, when T.E. Lawrence was a young guy and an RAF cadet, a lot of people don't know that he served in the RAF. He was like a private, even though he was basically royalty. He enlisted and was a private. That's just the kind of guy he was. Anyway, one of his favorite things to do on his weekends when he had time off was to go on this 100-mile loop that he had mapped out to ride on his Brough Superior. And he even had a name for it. The motorcycle was called Bonerges. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It was spelled Bonageres. So Bonerges, I don't know. Anyway, Bonerges was T. Lawrence's Brough Superior that he loved as nothing else. And every Sunday, he would take off on this 100-mile loop so that he could go to the butcher shop that had the best bacon, the bakery that had the best bread, the market that had the freshest eggs, and the whatever other place it was that he needed to go to get his favorite supplies for breakfast. This was a dawn ride that he would go on. And he writes about this in his book called The Mint. And on one particular Sunday morning when he was going out on the 100-mile breakfast run, he got into a race with a Sopwith camel. He's flying down the road, and this camel pilot pulls up beside him, flying about 25 feet off the ground, and they sort of look at each other, kind of do the salute, and it's on. And T.E. Lawrence, on his Brough Superior, wins the race. And it's just a really cool story. Unfortunately, Lawrence would eventually meet his demise on a Brough in 1937. He came flying around a corner and saw a couple of kids in the road, and in the process of trying to not plow into them, he had a fatal crash. So anyway, the Brough Superior is probably one of the most significant motorcycles in all of motorcycledom. And if you can find one of them on the auction block today, you better have $1 million minimum in your back pocket, because that's what it's going to take. I mean, they only made 70 of them the first year, maybe if even that many. I forget the exact number, but anyway, very rare, very cool. And that holy hallelujah, holy shit moment that I had when I was on heroboy.com was the moment that I discovered that last year they tooled up a 1/9 scale kit of the Brough Superior S100. And I was powerless. It was as if someone else was moving my hand towards the purchase button, and next thing you know, I've got this box from Japan that says Model Factory Hero on it, and we're going to open it right now on camera and see what's inside. I have not even cracked the seal on this thing, so you're going to be just as surprised as I am about what's in here. I've seen the pictures online, so I have some idea, but there's nothing like seeing them in person. Now, I was a bit surprised, I admit, that the box was kind of small, smaller than I expected, but it's pretty hefty. And that's because a bunch of the parts are actually metal parts. So, as usual, with everything they do, the Japanese have done a very thorough job of wrapping and taping this thing up. So, give me a minute while I cut through all this and we get to the good stuff. Okay, I've got the box out of the box, and here it is. I mean, look at this. Everything about this just screams high-end. There's just nothing, nothing even on the top of the box. No art, no nothing, just Model Factory Hero. I mean, they're telling you right away that they don't need any fancy artwork because it's all about what's inside. So, let's get in there and find out. This box is gonna be a little tough, but let me get in there and we'll see what we've got. I hated to cut on the box, but I had to do it. Okay. Caution. Small parts and sharp parts are included. Okay, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the camera angle so you guys can look at what I'm looking at. All right, here we go. All right, literally all I've done is open the lid, and this is what we've got. Brough Superior ss100. So if you hadn't already had an idea in your head what this motorcycle looked like, there you go. I mean, even in 2 dimensions in black and white, it looks like it's going 100 miles an hour. It's all motor. Okay, let's just take a quick look at this instruction sheet. I'm not going to go through each step, but let's have a quick look. Look at that. Full color, CAD drawings. You can see, oh, somehow let's see, I'm out of order. Okay, let me back up a page here. Okay, starts with the engine, building the cylinders with individual plates so that you get true cylinder fins. We've got camshaft followers, rocker arms, and even real springs for the valve train. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful illustrations. And I already know from looking online that a bunch of these parts that we're looking at, maybe all of them, are metal parts. So, very clearly detailed. They tell you, like right here, you're going to need some nickel silver wire. They tell you what size and what length to make. Got a place here where it calls out for some decals on the throttle assembly. All right, let's see what's on the next page. Okay, this is where things get real. Okay, take a look down here at the bottom. At the wheels. Just absorb that for a second. If that's not 100% clear, basically what this means when you look at this picture is that you have to lace these wheels spoke by spoke, just like the real thing. Now, fortunately, I've got a little bit of an advantage because I've built a bunch of real motorcycle wheels in my time, and so That's not going to come as a big surprise to me, but make no mistake about it, that is going to be part of the challenge. So then over here on the next page, we can see where the wheel assembly gets completed. And then, I already know what's on the next page. Take a look at this. This is the drive chain, and yes, you're seeing that correctly. The drive chain gets built link by link of individual pieces. So when you're done, you have an actual working drive chain. Very cool. All right, then the rest of it is just more assembly, I can see some individual clutch plates. Look at that. Look at the front fork parts. This is not a whole lot different from the parts that would be on the actual full-size bike. Very cool. That's called a girder fork. You don't see those anymore these days because everything's about hydraulic telescopic forks. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And finally we finish up with the headlights, the exhaust pipes, and there we go. That's what things are going to look like when it's all said and done. So let's take a look at some actual hardware. See what we've got going on in this box. Okay, there's seat parts and foot peg pads, and these are a very soft rubber material, so that's pretty cool, pretty realistic. All right, we've got a sprue here that sort of, okay, yeah, now that I flip it over, I can see these are solid parts. These are resin parts, clearly, because they're cast solid. So that's the gas tank and the battery case, I believe. So that's pretty cool. Now we've got some tires. So that gives you an idea of how big this thing is going to be. Look at the size of the tires. And the tread on these things is perfect. That's just a perfect reproduction of the real thing. Wow, Dunlops to be specific. Now we've got some metal parts. Looks like we've got some hose, some cable, a headlight bezel, some springs, and all of the spokes. There you go. You can see all those, hopefully. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Now let's see what's in here. Okay, that is a clear part. That's the windshield. And okay, I may have to pause for the cause here and do some unraveling because we've got parts that are encased in bubble wrap. Maybe this will slide out here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is a bunch of white metal cast parts. These are all various small bits and pieces, and I'm going to be careful with those and not bend any of them. And then in here, looks like what we've got is exhaust, exhaust headers, pipes, and these are all also metal parts that have a pretty good finish on them. Very nice. These are actually die-cast metal parts as opposed to white metal parts. So there we go with that. This is a pretty hefty little bag right here, and this is all engine cases and engine parts. Look at all of that. Look at that. Look at this. Look at the rear sprocket. There you go. Oh man, that looks good. So there is no doubt about the quality of these moldings. This little bag includes cylinder heads, gas tank shells, some frame pieces, and just various other things. One nice thing I can already see about this is that I don't have to clip anything off of any sprues or runners to speak of. This is nice. We've got a, look at this, a little bag that's got nickel silver rod and wire in it already for you to use. That is just first class. These guys aren't leaving you hunting for anything. Okay, now here in this separately packed box, we've got some some metal parts that have been chrome plated. And man, there's just no substitute for real chrome on real metal parts. Those look fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And then we've got frame and wheel parts. And oh, this is cool. I forgot to mention this when I was looking at the wheel lacing diagrams. This right here, that's your fixture, so that when you lace up the wheels, everything is nice and true and centered. How cool is that? There's a reason why this kit costs as much as it does, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, and there are all of the chain link pins, and I didn't see them yet, but somewhere in this box are all of the link plates. So, and a tiny set of real metal handlebars. I can hold on to them right here and almost feel myself going 100 miles an hour across the English countryside on my way to get bacon and bread for breakfast. So there we go. That is what's in the box. Okay, so there you go. If you've never seen inside of a Model Factory Hero kit box, there you go. That's what you get. It's a small box, but it's densely packed with very cool stuff. And I'm super excited about it. It's every bit as amazing as I expected it to be. Now, I am probably going to put all of these parts back in this box and not open it again until next year, to tell you the truth, because this is a special occasion build. I mean, this is one of those deals where it's going to be all hands on deck and no screwing around. And I've already got a pretty full plate for the next 6 months or so. So, as much as I hate to tease you guys with any, who are ready to see it get built, sorry, but I'm going to put it away for a while until I feel like I'm really ready to get into it. Now, you can go buy your own and build one yourself, or one of the many other very amazing kits that Model Factory Hero produces. They also produce a lot of detail parts for existing kits, like motorcycle chains, forks, fittings, hoses, things like that. But take your wallet. I'm not going to lie to you. This was a very expensive kit. I got it from heroboy.com, which is the UK supplier for these guys, and they were having some sort of a special deal on it for some reason, even though the thing is shown on Model Factory Hero's website as being limited stock. The price at heroboy.com was 299 British pounds, which a quick bit of math will tell you at the exchange rate to US dollars that by the time I paid FedEx charges and everything, this was close to $500. So, look, not gonna lie about that. It's definitely a sizable chunk of change to throw at a model kit, but these really are the top end, and it's if you do it right, you're going to have a museum quality piece of artwork that you can be proud of forever. So if that's your thing, and if you're a motorcycle guy in your blood like I am, then you know that even at that price, this is hard to resist. So anyway, there you go. I hope you thought that was as cool as I did. And We'll see. We'll see what happens. When I do decide to build it, I will definitely be documenting every bit of it along the way. So, all right, guys, hope you found that entertaining and informative. And as always, thanks for watching if you're still with me. All right, much love. Take care.